Hola amigos y amigas, welcome to my office, aka my newest background. Today I want to jump in and keep things simple if I can, because this is like the upteenth time I have tried filming this video, and talk about why I'm bleaching my own hair. A number of the people that I talk about, stylists and colorists, are people that I like, that were part of situations that I didn't like, that constitute a few of the reasons why I have decided to bleach or try to bleach my own hair. I'm gonna keep all dates, timelines, people very vague, because this isn't about outing anyone. Like I said, a number of the stylists that I mentioned, except for two who completely destroyed my hair, but everyone else I mentioned, I totally like. I am not the type of person or of the mindset that you should seek out a professional if you can't afford them. They have their rates, they have priced their work where they need it to be. They have to earn a living wage. They have to be able to make ends meet, and they have to also charge what their mastery and their skill set is worth. And working with hair is an art form. It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of mastery, it takes deep understanding of hair. I mean, there's so many factors that come into play. And so they are worth, especially the good ones, they are worth every single penny and then some. I'm not of the mindset that I want to go to someone and shortchange them or try to haggle them down. It's absolutely not who I am, and it's not something I would do, and it's not something I'm comfortable with. And so every time I seek someone out, especially for color situations, not necessarily a haircut, but mainly for a color situation, I will always go in for a consultation to meet with them, talk to them, show them my hair, give them the history of my hair, answer any questions they might have, so that we may both have a solid feel as to what the process is going to entail, how long it will take, and I have a pretty good idea too of how long that takes given my past history with my hair, so I also give insight into that. And then ideally lock in a rate. You know, what rate works for you each time I come in, so that it's something stable that I can count on, so that I'm not overcharged at any point, because that's of concern to me, as well as making sure that they're happy with whatever they're gonna charge me. And if it's a fit for both, then great, I'll come to you. And if not, and if I can't afford them, then that's fine. I totally understand. This whole situation is a luxury, and I also understand that. So I want to touch base from the client end on a number of things. Please, stylists, just as I am keeping you in mind by coming in, having a consultation, and putting everything on the table, my cards on the table, and saying, listen, this is the range that I can afford. This is the work that my hair needs. You understand better than I do the extent and the care and the detail and what you want to charge. What are you comfortable with? What are you going to charge me for whatever amount of time it takes for the session with me? What makes you happy, not including tip? And then I also say that when I tip, I always do 20% at least, depending on what you're charging me, what I can afford, but I'd never below 20%. And I'm loyal, and I come in like clockwork every 2 months, but I will come exclusively to you. And so I do talk everything out. So if we gel, if we connect, that is awesome. And the next step is the price. But this is what's happened to me on a few occasions. With one stylist, he quoted me $180. I went in, I was so excited. I had gone into him before, a few days before, for my cut. And then I made another appointment to go in for my color, which was to be $180 for the whole thing. When it was time to charge me, he charged me $280. And I was just completely floored. It just felt like the wind was knocked out of me, but I didn't say anything. And that's the part that I would say for anyone watching this video, if you find yourself in this situation, I'm not saying be rude about it, but do speak up. I didn't, and it just ate away at me. And then on top of that, 20% tip. So we're talking over $300 when I should have ended up in the $200 range with tip, because the initial, not even estimate, the price we agreed upon was $180. So the next question, after paying him, and I paid him, and it hurts, he asked me when, you know, should we book your next appointment 2 months from now? I said, well, let me go home and check my schedule and I'll get back to you. It felt off. I just didn't want to go back, and it just felt so off. So I just texted him, politely lied and said, you know, some stuff has come up that has me rethinking my budgets. I don't think I could afford your rates right now, but if that should ever change, I will gladly come back to you. We still follow each other on social media, comment on each other's stuff. He is awesome, but that really rubbed me the wrong way. And here he lost a client. More stories. Another one, this other stylist quoted me $175 to $185 and wanted to go ahead and do a swatch test first to see how I did with this particular bleach and developer that he used to make sure I didn't have an allergic reaction, etc. And so he was being thorough, and that I found impressive. He told me to be there the next day at 9 a.m. I showed up at 9 a.m. and no one showed up. No one was there. No one came. And then I just kind of felt a little confused. Maybe I got the time wrong. I looked on Yelp to look up the number. I didn't have it saved on my phone. I called. No one was picking up. The whole place was complete. You know, they have one of these things that they brought down and had the whole place shut off from the world, so it was completely closed. So it wasn't a surprise that no one was picking up, and they said that they opened at 10. Well, did I get the time wrong? I waited. He arrived. He didn't say anything about it. Again, here, this is my fault. I didn't say anything. I had waited at a coffee shop, mind you, not outside on the street, and then went back at around 10. And yes, they opened at 10. He showed up. Didn't say anything though, and I didn't say anything. It was going to be my first color with this person, and I was just a little antsy. But I should have said something. Later, I don't know if she's the salon manager or receptionist, but she came up to me and said, wait, was your appointment at 9 a.m.? And I said, yeah, you guys told me 9 a.m. I thought I was maybe crazy because when I showed up, it was closed, but no one was here. But no one said anything about it. The color thing went great. I was charged the correct price. So I'm like, okay, I can brush it off. Another appointment that I showed up to with this person, I had been told they had shut for a while. Things had been going on and they had to shut. And then when they were opening up, I was one of the first appointments on the books, and I was told to be there at 11:30. I'm there at 11:30, and again, no one shows up. Things had come up, and by this time, I was connected to this person, the stylist, on Facebook, because if I called the salon, it was, again, shut, and no one was going to pick up the phone. So I dropped a line on Facebook saying, where are you? Wasn't it 11:30? And they said, oh, other stuff had come up. We had to shut down for an extra week or so, and I forgot to cancel you, but I'll do you a solid and I'll show up either tonight or tomorrow, whatever works best for you. And it was annoying because that part of town, it's really hard to do street parking and be mindful of it and run out with color in my hair, and more likely than not, my car's going to be parked blocks away. So I had already parked and paid for parking, which was $20 now down the drain, because coming back in the evening was awesome. And it would be free car parking. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And because they had been shut for a while and they were opening, I wanted to be nice. And I had bought some gifts. One was a bottle of wine, and another was a big Xtava Black Orchid diffuser, which is my favorite diffuser. This person used to have me blow dry my hair in the salon. I prefer to do it at home, but I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it in the salon just because I always wanted to see my hair finished before I went home. And here I am. I got stood up in the morning, but okay, I'm grateful you're coming in the evening, but that also meant me having to go back again. I gave the gift, and when they saw the diffuser, because they had a collection of diffusers, I forgot to say, so my thought was, well, it's for the collection of diffusers. I didn't see them having anything as big, and in case they have other curly girls, other naturals who diffuse here before going home, they have a nice range. And if they like the Xtava, that way they can also use the Xtava. But then they're like, oh, well, no one really diffuses that much here, so I guess this will be for you every time you come in. Which was a little off-putting because I really didn't buy it for me. I just didn't know what would be a fun gift to get a hairstylist, so I figured a diffuser. So whatever. That diffuser is $20 on Amazon. And the bottle of wine wasn't cheap either. So we're talking an extra $50 easy that I was giving, plus the lost $20 in parking. Luckily, they didn't overcharge me, but I went home with lilac hair, like extra toner, which has happened with a number of stylists that I've tried out. And that gets to be annoying because I'm paying a price that's not super cheap. Again, it's also not as high as it can be in San Francisco, so I'm conscious of that. So I never said anything either. And that's why I Googled and tried, and you can check it out here, the video that I did on it, the process of naturally removing toner from your hair. So that became part of my process with many stylists that I went to. I came home with purple, gray looking hair, and I had to go that extra step 2-3 days later, just kind of let it sit a little in my hair, and then 2-3 days later go through this whole removing the toner process, which added to the whole thing. But I'm like, whatever, if I'm getting a good rate, I'm not going to complain. But then fast forward to another appointment with this person that, again, the rate had been locked in at $175, $185. This time around, my appointment was at 5 p.m. I show up at 5 p.m. and the receptionist had taken my appointment, which is how they do it. And when he saw me, he's like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be you today. I should have checked the books, because there's the particular bleach combo, whatever formula that I used on you, I don't have. I have to rush out and get it. So either I can reschedule you, and I'm thinking, oh God, no. Or I can quickly run out and come back. It'll be like 15-20 minutes. So I thought, okay, you know what? 15-20 minutes is fine. It saves me the hassle from having to go home and then do this whole trip back again another day and set aside this whole chunk of day to come. I'm like, I've already set aside hours to come in, so that's fine. I can wait 15-20 minutes. I ended up waiting till 6 p.m. Shows up at 6 p.m. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I brushed it off. I'm still in a good mood, giving them the benefit of the doubt. As long as the color turns out fine and I'm charged what's been agreed upon, I'm happy. I went home with a little bit of a darker lilac grayish looking color this time around. Again, fine. I know how to remove it, so okay. Came time to charge me. My total is $250. Are you serious? $250. I've been made to wait an hour. Last time I was stood up. Another time I was made to wait an hour because I was forgotten in the morning and no one really truly acknowledged that my appointment was at 9 a.m. The gifts I gave, I don't really think were appreciated, and it's not a matter of it being appreciated, but don't make a comment that's a little bit of a snide remark about it. So all these things adding up, and then I'm being told $250 when we've agreed on $175. And this time around, just remembering that previous experience where it was $280, I was just trying to not show too much emotion. And that's another thing that I probably do wrong, because I'm very poker faced. Kind of held it in, gave it a beat, and then looked at him and said, have your rates gone up? And he looked at me and said, why, what was I charging you? I'm thinking, really? And I said, well, 175, 185, in that range is what we had agreed upon. And he nods, says, can you do 200 moving forward? And again, I said yes, because what am I going to do? Am I going to try to haggle the price down? It's not what I do. If what you want to do is 200 and that's not in my budget, I'm just going to say yes, but then I'm not going to come back. And that's pretty much what happened. And that day I was charged $250. I didn't pay $300 because that's what I would have done with 20% tip. I did $270 and even went home feeling bad because I didn't do a 20% tip. And that whole situation, I shouldn't have been placed in that situation. The burden shouldn't be on me to have to double check and triple check each time on the price and then kind of be made to feel like that price is a favor to me. I didn't ask for favors. Honestly, I didn't. I don't want any favors. If the price doesn't work for you, let me know, because if I can't pay it, I won't show up. I won't waste your time and I won't waste my money. Plus, I'm going home with purple hair. Especially if you're going to overcharge me that much, I don't want to go home with purple hair. I want to go home with that perfect blonde that I am shelling out for. And so it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth to be placed in that situation. And it makes me sad because I really respect and admire a number of these stylists that I've gone to where these things have happened consistently. Well, not as consistently, but consistently enough for it to be an issue. So now that we're in a pandemic, that price tag is not one I'm willing to pay right now. Also saving me the time from all these hours in a salon and that exposure when the rates of coronavirus are so high in San Francisco, California, where the contagion rate is so bad, where there's a new strain spreading. I'm like, if I can spare myself those hours at the salon, I'll go in for a cut the 1 or 2 times a year that I might go in, but that's it. And so here I am, and here's my reality. I am pretty much gray all over, as you can see, and I don't want to go back to dark. I like blonde. I like blonde on me. Being blonde, I have to just touch it up every 2 months or so. As a brunette, I had to go in every 2 weeks because honestly, after doing my roots, within a week, you could see the grays coming in, and I have so much now that it's glaring. So on a dark head, this is just screaming white, the gray coming out. And though it's easier to be dark and maintain the roots, and mainly because you're depositing color, it's an easier process to do on your own at home. If I were to go dark and then change my mind, I want to go back to blonde, that's going to take a span of time. That's going to be considered a color correction. That is something I can definitely not do on my own, and that is going to be crazy expensive. So I figured, my hair is short right now, so if I screw this up and I have to big chop, again, worst case scenario. Bad case scenario is the hair gets kind of sort of fried, my curls get kind of wonky, I'm not going to want to risk it again and then I have to go dark. Worst case scenario is the curls are badly fried, I'm going to need a big chop and then I have to go dark. But to have to do a big chop from this length to a big chop is easier than if I'm longer trying it out then and then having to do a big chop. So I figured I'll try my luck now, have all my supplies, so that's going to be happening within the next few days. And let's see how it goes. If I'm able to maintain my own blonde, I will be saving so much money. I will be saving so much time, and I will be exposing myself to other humans in the outside world way less than I would otherwise. Though granted, it would be a few hours extra every 2-3 months. And so that is why. From the client perspective, please, 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 stylists, cosmetologists, colorists, you bear the brunt of having to be mindful of what you are charging your clients so that they're not in the uncomfortable position of having to either not say anything, to be shocked, to be floored, or to have to bring it up and then feel like they're begging for a discount when it's really not the case. And if you do want your rates to go up, then as with any business deal, approach them and say, hey, this appointment I'll honor our regular rate, but the next appointment, you know, I'm raising my rates and this is what my new rates are. Does that work for you? And either you're fixed or you want to work something out with them, that's up to you. But that would just be the better way to do it. Give them a heads up. And if you're in that situation, like what happened to me where I was quoted $250 and then he asked, well, how much was I charging you? And it was $175. Don't go ahead and still charge me the $250 when you've just floored me and never given me a heads up. I paid it, but I went home feeling really crappy. And that one and the $280 with the other one and just the times that I was stood up and little snide remarks, I've tried to show my appreciation and consideration, and I'm really good at word of mouth. If I love someone, anyone who compliments my hair, whether they're asking for a stylist recommendation or not, they're gonna get it. And I'm loyal to a T, but I expect that same consideration back. And if I'm not gonna get it, I'm not gonna come back. And that's it. That's why I'm gonna try and bleach my own hair. So stay tuned and let's see how that goes. Hopefully I won't be bald the next time you see me in a hair video. Do you have any similar stories? Do you have any tips? How do you handle such situations if you've ever faced them before? I'm really curious to know. Am I alone in this? I know I'm not alone in this, but share your stories with me. I would love to know. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for tuning in. Ciao for now.